Man, y'all know how hard it is to get a good camera angle in the morning. But anyway, let's go ahead and continue where we left off at um, with Element. All right, let's see here.
To a point where we don't even believe lives matter. Good fucking God, people. I mean, how sick? How sick are we really? How sick are we really as a people that we actually are even remotely allowing this to happen, regardless if it's fake or not? Why is this even a fucking issue? You know, like I said, no wonder MGTOW is growing. Because we can see that the fucking ship is sinking right before our very eyes, and the water is now at our waistline. It's now at our fucking waistline. We better do something about it quick for ourselves and maybe other people that see the waters also around their waistline too. And we're all looking at each other going, we got to do something.
So if anybody doesn't know what MGTOW is, men going their own way. This was a movement that happened several years ago that we don't hear about too much anymore. I'm pretty sure if I tried to look for it on YouTube, I will find it. It's probably still there, but you know, he branded himself off MGTOW. That's how he started. That's how he got attention to his YouTube page. And that's how a lot of guys was getting their attention on YouTube. They start off with this men going their own way, which is like, oh my God, like that sounds so silly. I never could brand myself MGTOW, men going their own way. Mm-mm. No, I can't truck it out. I can't truck it out without women, y'all. Let's just continue on. Let's get to
the. This is not okay. If we don't move, then we're going to drown. And I think
I'm telling you, guys, you had guys meeting up, thinking about what type of artillery, how many shells, what type of guns you was gonna need, you know, from this attack that they were feeling from women and Western society. We were ready to build trenches and you know it was like a military operation. And let me tell you guys for real, if you try to do a military opposition against women, let me just tell you right now, you're gonna lose that war. You're gonna lose that war.
A lot of the MGTOW guys are in the same boat, and we see the water is all on the waistline, and we're getting the fuck off the ship because the vacuum is going to suck us. You know, whenever a ship sinks, it creates a vacuum, and that vacuum and anything on top of it will bring the ship along with it. So let's say, for example, if you're standing at the bow of the ship, right, and you let it sink, it's not like you can just swim off after the water. Um, after the boat sinks. No, the vacuum of the whole ship sinking and all the water around it pulling it in, because it's such a high mass, will suck you into it. You can't just swim out, because whenever a ship sinks, it creates a vacuum. So everybody on that ship can't just swim off after the ship sinks and then swim to the surface. The vacuum will pull them down along with the ship. This is the exact thing that I see going on. If we don't get off the ship that is sinking, the vacuum is going to suck us along with it to the bottomless pits of the ocean.
Remember, guys, this guy is 23 years old talking like this. 23. And you hear him in the background taking hits off his I don't know what you call those things. This dude, I mean, it's like it was like a this is like a this is like a cry for help. It's like a cry for help. Sometimes when you listen to somebody venting, you got to listen for clues, for subtle cries of help. At this point, I don't think he was really looking for help. He had already made up his mind. But let's keep going.
You know, let me tell you something. I've gotten to a point now in my life. I have studied and did so much research on the modern socio-political issues and sociological, socio-psychological issues, sociological issues that I see in this world with the feminism and the gender issues and the gender war and the politics, the government, this and that, this and that, this and that. There's nothing left to really talk about anymore. We all see it for what it is. We all see it for what it is. There's no need to explain a burning building. We all know that it's on fire. I'm afraid we're getting to a point now, you know, if things keep going this way, guys, I'm at a point now where it's about to be every guy.
You know what was scary about this situation, guys, is that this was before the lockdown, right? And then well, yeah, this was like right before the lockdown. So he was talking like this before the lockdown. And it was like when the lockdown came, I was like, he was like the first person on my mind, like, oh God, this guy, like he, man, I'm telling you, let's move on.
Himself. It's about to be every fucking man for themselves very shortly. You know, it's coming to a point where it's about to be every person, every man for themselves. The reason why I say that is going back to the analogy of the vacuum with the ship. If other people are panicking on the ship and they don't know you have to get off the ship, then they're going to be sucked down with the ship. You can tell people and try to get people to wake up and go, look, the ship is fucking sinking. You got to get off the ship. Or you're going to be sucked in by the vortex. If they're not, number one, willing to listen and they're too panicky, then you're going to sit there as the water keeps rising, and you're now going to get to a point where you can't get off. This is how I see this whole notion of trying to wake people up, trying to get people to realize that what's happening around us is that the ship is sinking and we better get off. I've gotten to a point now where, like I said again, it's getting to a point where it's every man for themselves. Either you know what's going on or you don't. And we're about to get to a point.
Right now, guys, like I said the other day, I see a situation where I'm actually seeing that women are more mentally strong than men at the current moment. And I can use my light as an example. I told you guys I be coming around guys and they be, they be acting all scared and stuff. But the women don't seem to be scared. That's why I said don't try to go to war, men, and get in the trenches and try to go. If there was a war between men and women on a battlefield, the way it is now, men would lose that war. That's why I can't join no MGTOW going its own way. You would lose that battle to women based on what I'm seeing. Men are not mentally tough in this society that I'm living in right now. They're like the women are tough. The women are taking charge. The women don't seem to have any fear right now of anything. Women are built for survival, man. That's what I'm most worried about now. I'm seeing like a very strong weakness and the average male out here today. They're weak. They're very weak. If an army came in here, I said this a few years ago. I said if an army came in here to invade, it's gonna be women fighting because these men are through.
But there's no return. Point of no return. We're getting real close to it, I'm telling you. If not, we've already passed it. I think we have. So what am I trying to say? You know, honestly, I don't know, because there's so much craziness going around, and there's so many people arguing different points and different arguments about how they think something is either right or wrong. All of that is irrelevant at this point, I think.
He said earlier in his video, he said that he don't watch the news, but you do watch the news. You do watch. He's like, I don't watch the news much, but you do watch them. See, here's somebody. He's young enough to be intelligent, but he's not strong enough to just walk away and be to himself. You could tell he's in some kind of battle mentally with himself.
Because all the planning and all the thinking and all the theorizing and all the, theories that we've tried to come up to best analyze what's been going on in this whole world, and what's been going on with culture and women and the gender relations, it's almost become irrelevant, because before the ship was starting to sink and we still had the ability to try to get things, maybe steer the ship in such a way where we could get on a little bit higher land, it started to sink to a point where there's no return. And I'm using this analogy because it's the best way I can try to describe this. And at some point, you see the water goes over the bow, and the whole half of it's sticking up out of the ground. You go, fuck this. There's no way this is going to work. Maybe if there was some water leaking in, and maybe you could shut off a valve or repair a valve. But you have to do that before the water gets to a point where the weight starts to pull it to the ground. It starts to flood the ship. But if you don't do that, then water is going to keep pouring in, and you're not going to be able to.
We all know the Bible says that men should not be alone, and this is one of the reasons why. If you get to a point where a man is just going to work, coming home, taking in all the stuff from the world, it can really weigh on him. Me, I'm kind of an anomaly. Like, I've done it so long that I'm just used to it. But now I do feel the strong need to be with, my woman. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, because I've already beat the battle of dealing, feeling like the world is on your shoulders. It's not good for men to be like this, especially at his age. Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
Fix the problem. This is how I look at the society and the culture of Western society, Western culture. We are a ship. We did not fix the repairs when we should have. The water has already come flooding in, and it's time to get off the fucking ship. And when I see things like this where I just can't believe it. When you have people that actually get upset with you because you're not going along with the narrative, or you're not going along with what is the norm and what is considered what everybody's complaining about. And not only that, that's irrelevant. The fact that we've actually stooped down to such a level that we can't even agree that each other's lives matter. When shit hits the fan, my goodness. Could you imagine being around people like that? They're not going to help you. Obviously, they don't care about other lives, so why the hell would they help you? This is why I said it's getting to a point now where it's almost every man for themselves now. Either you get the information and you learn what's going on, or you're going to be pulled down with the ship. You're going to get caught up in the delusion. You're going to get caught up in the bull crap that's been artificially created, and that vortex is going to suck you down along with it. And not only that, everybody else around you. So I just wanted to talk and get this out of my head because I just can't. You know, it's so disgusting, and it's very sad. It's very sad to see that you know, we've gotten down to this level. I don't know how any. First of all, I don't, like I said, I think I mentioned this in previous videos, but I don't. Politics. It's the fact that we're still relying on other people to dictate what happens to our lives shows you that the brainwashing and the years and years and years of brainwashing and indoctrination. It's
Here's the scary part. He said allowing other people to dictate our lives. Now think about this, guys. Can you imagine one day you wake up and there was no one to dictate your life anymore? Okay, it's like, okay, let's say all the political figures that we look at on the news, let's say if it all just disappears tomorrow. Do you know that these people with the current mental state that they're in, remember I always say they can't govern themselves. If this he's talking about, if that just disappeared tomorrow, okay, you have no more president, no more leaders to look up to, no more billionaires, nobody to shift your blame or focus to. Do you know these people will lose their goddamn mind? They're not mentally stable enough. They can't govern themselves. I'll always tell you guys that all the time. These people cannot govern themselves. They need these figureheads. They need these millionaires and billionaires so they can have somebody to point at for their little nilly-dilly problems. That's the scary part. The scary part is not what the world is showing you with the so-called world leaders. That's not the problem. The problem is if you took those world leaders away, these people could not govern themselves. That's where I told you understanding comes in. Let's go ahead and close it out, y'all.
It's at a point of no return. I don't know how in the world some political person is going to fix this problem. They're not going to. They're not going to. That's not their
They're not. They're
job.
not,
The job
they're not supposed to.
is to ride the wave until it crashes, or until it destroys everything around them because it benefits them. This is part of this narcissistic culture that we live in, where it's all about yourself.
People need somebody to point up. That's another thing about, you know, people having a king. And then you say, well, these are your millionaires and billionaires. People need something to point to say why they are doing right or wrong in their own personal lives. People need millionaires and billionaires. Some people need those figureheads to just get out of bed in the morning, to make themselves feel like they have a reason to keep going. Well, this person's a billionaire, so I got to get out of bed today because I could be one day too. You see how that works? You're stuck between a rock and a hard place. What he's saying makes sense, but when you really look at it with a microscope, if you took all that away that he's complaining about, I'm telling you, these people would lose their mind, and he'll be right back on here talking about some other problem. I guarantee you. He's young. He hasn't reached understanding yet. I was at that point too.
And fuck everybody else. Now, that is important to take care of yourself to a degree. It is important. I'm not saying that that's irrelevant to be taking care of yourself and doing everything you can to improve yourself. And I certainly wouldn't blame you, especially what we see going on today in the society, where And people don't even care about anybody else. Yeah, why should you try to help them if they're not even willing to help themselves? Then the only case is to help yourself, because the point of maybe trying to help other people is irrelevant because they don't want to help themselves. And if you're trying to help somebody who doesn't want to be helped, you're just wasting your resources, you're wasting your time when you need to get the fuck out. It's like somebody who's stuck in a car and the car's beginning, like if they drive into an ocean, right? And they're in shock and they don't want to get out of the car. And they say, if you don't get out of the fucking car, you're going to drown to death. And they don't want to get out of the car. And somebody's trying to help them, but they don't want to unlock the door.
I'm gonna go ahead and close it out here, guys. But if one thing I've come to the people need somebody to point the finger at. If you hear about, I remember the whole. I don't know if some of y'all remember the Wienergate incident. Some guy and the government got caught showing his thing-a-ling to some college chick, and his last name just happened to be Wiener. And people, they need this theater. They need somebody to point the finger at to say that's right or wrong. They need to criticize the president. They need this stuff. It's crazy, but they actually need this type of stimuli to exist within them. So these people cannot go for them. So they can't govern themselves. So what this guy is saying is he's making all the points. But if you took all that away that he's talking about, all the Black Lives Matter, all the stuff, if you took that whole stage away, this, I guarantee you will be begging for it to come back. Because all of a sudden the focus would be on you and what you gonna do. And these people don't know what they're gonna do. They need to be told what they should and should not be doing. Yeah, it's like that. I wish I could sit up here and tell you guys honestly, I believe people could go for themselves and that they don't need a government and they don't need billionaires and they don't need no, they do need that. They exactly need that because they can't govern themselves.